More fallout over Sean Diddy Combs, from a producer who allegedly encouraged the rapper to confess, to a prestigious university cutting off its relationship with the music mogul, to a shocking theory from Suge Knight. We're going to break down some recent developments in the Combs saga. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Hey there, everybody. This is a Law&Crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked users' browsing data without their knowledge. While Mass Tort Alliance, one of our legal sponsors, is helping users file for compensation due to Google users' privacy issues surrounding Google Incognito. So if you've used Google Incognito anytime since 2016, you can start your claim in less than 10 questions at incognitoclaims.com/sidebar. More updates in the world of Sean Diddy Combs we want to bring you right now. As you may know, the rapper and music mogul is facing multiple lawsuits accusing him of sex trafficking, rape, violence, illegal weapons, and narcotics possession. His properties in LA and Miami were raided several months ago by Homeland Security agents, reportedly pursuant to an ongoing human trafficking investigation out of New York. And while neither Combs nor anyone in his orbit have been arrested or charged in connection with that probe, and I want to be clear about that, it has been reported that witnesses may be brought forward to testify in front of a federal grand jury out of New York. Now, this is very important. This would be either to obtain an indictment or to get subpoenas that would be issued for documents or testimony. We can't obviously independently verify that this is happening. Grand jury proceedings are secret, of course, but these are what sources have told the media. Now, even if that is true, we don't know when this would be happening. We still don't have an idea of the timeline of this grand jury process. Reporting indicates that authorities may still be gathering information in this case, so they might not have it ready to actually present for an indictment. Now, I should tell you, if this is true, it does confirm what we have been saying, that investigators have probably been talking with a number of people, including possible Combs accusers. That's why we didn't see arrests on the day of the raids, and we didn't see arrests immediately. It takes time to build these kinds of cases. And again, we do not know what role Combs may be playing in this investigation. But investigators, they have to analyze what was taken from those properties during those raids. They have to interview people. They have to verify the information from witnesses. So this takes time. Okay, so with all of that as background, now let's talk some recent updates. And the first update we want to talk about concerns Kim Porter. This is the late ex-girlfriend of Sean Combs. And we talked a lot about Kim Porter on a previous sidebar, but she and Combs, they had an on-again, off-again relationship that started in the 90s. It picked back up in the early 2000s. They have 3 biological children together, but Combs has actually raised one of Kim Porter's children that she had with another individual. One of their biological children is Christian Combs, who is actually named in one of these lawsuits. He has been sued for sexual assault by a former steward on a yacht that Sean Combs apparently chartered. We also covered that in another sidebar. Now, sadly, Porter died in 2018 from what authorities concluded was lobar pneumonia. Her name actually came up relatively recently in a new lawsuit that was filed by another Combs accuser, April Lampros. One of her allegations is that Combs forced her and Porter to take drugs and have sex with each other in front of Combs, and that Porter led to her being fired from her job. Now, while that case works its way through the courts, we want to talk now about a different update, and it concerns Porter's father, 78-year-old Jake Porter. He spoke out to Rolling Stone about Combs, broke his silence, and more specifically, he talked about that horrifying video published by CNN. The video purportedly from 2016, allegedly showing Combs in just a towel, savagely beating and dragging his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura, in an elevator bank at the Intercontinental Hotel in LA. Horrible video, taken from surveillance footage. It's a video that is incredibly disturbing and hard to see. So Jake Porter told Rolling Stone, quote, "You can say I was disgusted with the video and I wouldn't treat my enemy like that. It was despicable. I couldn't believe it. I was in Vietnam and I wouldn't do that to my enemy. Porter explained that while he never witnessed the rapper become violent with his daughter, it now, quote, makes him wonder what may have been going on. Quote, I didn't know he could stoop that low. I imagine it surprised a lot of people. I wouldn't even do a dog like that. My heart goes out to Cassie. And he added that the reason his daughter and Combs broke up was because even though she loved him, she, quote, just couldn't live with him. I think he was a very jealous person. They both loved each other. Kim's love was legitimate. Puffy's love, I don't know what he calls love, you know what I mean? I really don't think he has any idea what love is. And by the way, Jake Porter's comments, they echo a number of people who watched that video and were shocked by what they saw. And let's not forget, Cassandra Ventura came out after the release of that video and said, this is what it takes for people to believe what I was saying. And here's the thing, arguably just as shocking as that video was Combs' apology 2 days later on Instagram.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you got to do that. I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
And we have covered this as well on Sidebar before, but him seemingly admitting that that was him on tape doing this could be very problematic for him because while it doesn't seem he's going to be hit with state charges since time ran out to bring assault charges in LA, the statute of limitations ran out, there is this ongoing federal probe. Could this not be used as a piece of evidence in a larger sex trafficking case if we're talking about violence or threats of violence to coerce people into commercial sex acts, which, by the way, Cassandra Ventura had alleged in her prior lawsuit against Combs before she ended up settling with him. But aside from the potential legal consequences, there has been even more fallout for Combs after that video, which brings me to another update. Howard University, the private, historically black university out of Washington, D.C., has revoked its honorary degree it awarded Sean Combs back in 2014. The university's board of trustees released a statement saying, quote, Mr. Combs' behavior as captured in a recently released video is so fundamentally incompatible with Howard University's core values and beliefs that he is deemed no longer worthy to hold the institution's highest honor. This acceptance revokes all honors and privileges associated with the degree. Accordingly, the board has directed that his name be removed from all documents listing honorary degree recipients of Howard University. And by the way, I have to say, if that video that we've been talking about wasn't so clear as it is, I think it's a fair argument to make that Sean Combs may not have even come out and apologized for that. I think that's a fair assessment. But because that video was so clear, you could say, did he have no kind of choice? If it was grainy, is it possible he would have denied it like he's denied the allegations in the past? Would his attorneys have denied it? Would Howard University have revoked this degree? It's an important question. But given how clear that video is, something to think about. But by the way, this just continues the fallout for Combs in the wake of this video, in the wake of the lawsuits, in the wake of the raids. While not providing a reason, America's Best Eyeglasses announced it will no longer carry Sean John. They've pulled the frames from their retail stores and their website. Sean John, of course, is the fashion label created by Combs in the late 90s. The tuition-free charter school co-founded by Combs, Capital Preparatory Harlem, it ended its partnership with him. Hulu had reportedly been working on a reality show about Combs and his 7 children. That project was thrown out back in December. Combs reportedly stepped down as chairman and sold shares of Revolt TV. CNN reported that fitness powerhouse Peloton has removed Combs' music from its platform. And talking about that, back in April, Billboard reported that airplay of Combs' songs was down significantly overall. City of New York reportedly considering taking back the key to the city that was given to Sean Combs in September of last year. So clearly a fall from grace for Sean Diddy Combs. But now we move on to another update. Now, clearly, given the allegations against Combs, there are those who have made comparisons to disgraced R&B singer R. Kelly. R. Kelly was convicted and sentenced to decades behind bars for sex trafficking, racketeering, and child sex crimes. But again, need to emphasize that Combs has not been criminally charged or even found liable with respect to any of these allegations. These are just allegations at this point. However, Dream Hampton, the executive producer of the 2019 doc-series Surviving R. Kelly, she also produced a new documentary called It Was All a Dream that features clips of Sean Combs. Well, she claims that she reached out to Combs after Ventura sued him back in November 2023, that lawsuit alleging sexual assault, sex trafficking, sexual slavery. Remember, that lawsuit is what basically got the ball rolling on everything we're talking about. Well, Hampton apparently wanted Combs to come clean about everything. Quote, I reached out to him because I know that I'm someone that he'll listen to. And I said, Puff, I'm not trying to Olivia Pope you at all. I think that you're done and that it's time to tap out. And while she says, look, I hadn't seen him been violent before, she says that's very natural because men wouldn't beat their partners in front of other people. Hampton claims she followed up with a voice note to Combs. Quote, what you need to do, what we need, what we've needed really since Mike Tyson raped Desiree Washington is one of y'all mother effers to just say, I did this and I'm going to spend the rest of my life, and that includes financial restitution, trying to make this right. She continued, quote, I was like, this is a Sisyphean struggle that women are involved in. The so-called Me Too movement, the rock is coming down. And this whole Johnny Depp, Russell Simmons, deny, that's not even an option for you, Puff. Nobody is going to believe you. You're loathed already. So you actually have an opportunity here to enter into a different paradigm. Very interesting take from Hampton there. From a legal point of view, not surprising. He didn't admit to anything. Again, these are all allegations, but even if he did do everything, he's trying to fight this in the court of law. So he wouldn't have an advantage to ultimately admit this, especially if he felt that if he admits to one, more lawsuits would come down the pipeline. But anyway, that's the legal point of view. From an ethical, moral point of view, that's a different question. Now, there have been all different kinds of reactions to the Combs saga. And that includes those who have not missed an opportunity to go after Sean Combs. And one of those people is rapper 50 Cent, who has this ongoing feud with Combs. Netflix, by the way, has also acquired apparently a docu-series that has been produced by 50 Cent that's all about Sean Diddy Combs. And he's talked about that before. And he has consistently been commenting on Combs after each one of these developments. So on X, after the raids, 50 Cent wrote, now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case. When the Ventura tape got released and Combs put out that apology, 50 Cent wrote on Instagram, quote, this is not going to work. Who is advising him right now? SMH bad move. Shaking my head. Well, now 50 Cent apparently appeared at a comedy roast of Sean Combs. This was at the Dead Flamingo pop-up in Miami, Florida. Comics such as Lonnie Cox, Ricky Cruz, Drew Illa, they performed. It was actually designed to raise money for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. The event's host, Brittany Brave, said, quote, that Diddy is topical right now, so it made sense to join the conversation in a productive way. As for 50 Cent, he reportedly didn't get on stage or say anything, but he was there, taking pictures, passing out drinks. He posted this on Instagram, quote, yes, I was in attendance. I thought Puffy might show up because I saw Tom Brady at his. And then he has the emoji like shrugging shoulders. He didn't come. I had the shooters. And then he's got the film emoji. Get your mind out gutters, videographers. What? So he's seeming to suggest or joke around that he had shooters there ready to go if Combs had showed up, which is interesting because Combs reportedly is in Miami as all of this is going on. There have been photos and videos of him out and about recently, so kind of interesting to think about. All right, let me end this with one more update for you, and this concerns none other than Suge Knight, a very familiar character in Combs' world, a longtime rival, the founder of Death Row Records. Actually, he was mentioned in Cassandra Ventura's lawsuit against Diddy. So in her lawsuit, she says, quote, Miss Ventura was also exposed to the intense violence that pervaded Mr. Combs' rise to fame. For example, on one occasion when Mr. Combs and Miss Ventura were using drugs together in his home, one of his security staff barged in and announced that Suge Knight, a longtime rival of Mr. Combs, was spotted at Mel's Drive-In Diner in Los Angeles. Mr. Combs began to get dressed, retrieved multiple guns from a safe, and ran out of his home to where he believed Mr. Knight was dining. Miss Ventura became terrified and began to cry. Well, the former record executive currently sits behind bars and a 28-year prison sentence for manslaughter, but that hasn't stopped him from speaking out about Diddy. No, we previously reported how he advised that Diddy should turn himself in, claimed that Diddy's life was in danger, and now he has a very interesting theory about what is going on. So on his podcast, Collect Call with Suge Knight, he does this from prison. He says, quote, it's a lot of things that people have been knowing, and everybody gets judged differently. It shouldn't be a gray area when it comes to doing something right, doing something positive, or doing something for the community. That being said, naturally, Puffy been an FBI informant forever, as they would say. That's why it's different when it comes to him. Regardless of who gets hurt, all everybody been saying is Puffy, Puffy, Puffy. I think they shouldn't all blame everything on Puffy. His exes in the industry knew about it. Everybody in his crew knew about it. The Bs he dates knew about it. Everybody knew about it. So don't push away from it now. So aside from the idea that Diddy is an FBI informant and is maybe getting some sort of protection, Knight does raise a very interesting issue in terms of if these allegations are true, who was involved? Who was complicit? Who knew? Who else could be brought into this, either as a witness or potential defendant? We don't know. But again, no arrests, no charges at the time of this recording. We will, of course, continue to follow more updates for you in the Sean Diddy Combs saga. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.